Whilst many leaders from the world of business and politics were rubbing shoulders in Kuala Lumpur, here in neighbouring Korea, others met to discuss the future of a vital tool of economic growth, the internet. One of the issues at the top of the agenda was inclusiveness, how to reach the 80% of the world's population that doesn't have internet access. At the opening session, the Secretary-General of the OECD, which organised the conference, said that although there were already 1.3 billion internet users worldwide, there now had to be more of a dialogue with the developing nations to tackle the challenges they face. One major one is that many in the developed ICT nations tend to forget that there are non-English speaking people who don't use the Roman alphabet.
They have their own cultural identity. They want to make sure that they have their own cultural preservation, and their heritage will be also reflected in a digital form online. This is important to the younger generations coming in these countries to be part of their history, to be proud of their identity while they are linking with the rest of the world.
The good news is that it's being worked on, according to Paul Twomey, CEO of the organisation that assigns internet names and addresses.
What it means for an Egypt is that we'll now have domain names all the way through in Arabic, which is important not only for people feeling more comfortable, but very importantly for when you move to the next billion users of the internet worldwide who are not English speakers.
There's good news too on dialogue. Egypt, for instance, has now achieved observer status in the Information, Computer and Communications Policy Committee of the OECD, recognition of the leading role the country is playing in ICT. It means that they now are at the heart of the global dialogue.
The sector is growing by a growth rate of 20%, and it is contributing positively to the overall socio-economic development agenda of the country. Indeed, the sector is creating jobs to the Egyptian youngsters, and indeed it is providing other sectors with the right catalyst in order to make sure that we develop our education, our health, and our transport services.
Egypt's reform policies and long-term ICT strategies have given it a unique stand among their global peers.
I'm very impressed with the efforts of Egypt in using ICT in order to propel their growth, because these technologies, if used properly, can be a formidable force for equality.
And equality means more and more people gaining access to the internet. In Egypt, the industry is centred around a technology cluster known as Smart Village, home of multinational innovation centres, IT incubators, and some 14,000 Egyptian employees. Despite all this, small businesses in the country and individuals still have some way to catch up.
Egypt is in that curve where the ministry has been doing a lot in terms of looking at the way government looks at it, reaching out to the private sector. Some of the private sector leading companies have been doing those things, but at the SME level, at the individual level, there's still a learning curve aspect going on, and that's why education and outreach on these issues is so important.
But every day, more and more normal people and small businesses wake up to the social and financial advantages of the internet. And every day, more and more Egyptians are being trained in ICT. And that's what foreign inward investors are looking for.
My experience is we have been able really to have very, very strong people, and when I look at the environment, I'm sure that this is going to happen. I see the number of companies that are establishing themselves now in Egypt for such competencies, and yes, I see a very bright future.
Egypt's forward thinking on the internet and ICT is paying off. The secret now is for them to consolidate their position, not just in the region, but globally.